A statewide candidate is sounding the alarm over data centers. In Tyler tonight, folks heard from Clayton Tucker, Democratic nominee for Texas Agriculture Commissioner, about data centers. Our Michael Richardson reports residents there are looking for a way to stop these developments, at least for now.
We are going to suffer terribly with the loss of water.
These East Texans are raising concerns about data centers. Earlier today, the Northeast Texas National Organization for Women held an event featuring Democratic nominee for Texas Agriculture Commissioner Clayton Tucker, who says there should be a pause on data center development.
It will just raise the cost of everything, raise the cost of water, raise the cost of power. As it takes more land and hurts our animals, it will raise the cost of food. And we just simply can't afford this.
In East Texas, data center development has fostered concerns.
I just don't think that we've been able to estimate the impact of the data centers on our everyday lives.
The city of Sulphur Springs is being sued by a resident who says city leaders failed to disclose project details. And in Angelina County, a $1.5 billion data center project could change the tax base.
These data centers, the technology that's being used, in my opinion, there's going to be a bubble that is going to burst because new technology is already developed that is going to use less and fewer resources.
Michael Richardson, KLTV 7 News.
About 36 people attended tonight's Northeast Texas National Organization for Women meeting. Clayton Tucker faces Republican Nate Sheets in the November election.